Alright, after an extended dinner break, we're back for daily 651, where we learn to be a better gamer, and it's SOS that we're all about. Been talking about his lack of colossus in these the PvT matchup, focusing extensively on the Templar opening. And here what we're going to see out of SOS is kind of the same thing that we saw in the last game, just another look at it. But things are going to go a little bit awry for SOS. Things are going to go bad. He's going to mess up. We're going to see how he recovers. Because I really think that the hallmark of a player like SOS, one of those tip-top King of the Universe style players, is the ability to bounce back in really bad situations and how those decisions differ when they're behind. So usual scouting stuffs don't matter to us. We're just going to see two assimilators populated. This is a very nice spot to put a Stargate. Just slightly hidden. Not extensively hidden. But we see the mothership core coming up. We see a probe get picked off. We see an oracle get produced and a nexus go down at about the same time. Seeing out of Bomber is the same style of thing that we see out of many players. We see out of SOS is the same style of thing we saw him do in the other game. He went double forge in this spot. Now this oracle, requires a little bit of management, and he will thusly be a manager of it. Killing off some marines, maybe some extra SCVs, no big deal. Double forge play, cool, super cool. A strong response to a player who's going for 3 barracks. We see the same move, the hallucinated oracle, and then the real oracle. Getting extra bonus damage. Really nice little play. We see the same moves, Twilight Council, with all the gates popping up on up. Now, the thing that kind of stinkered about this game is that Bomber advanced forward with this big Marine Marauder pack that SOS just did not have a good answer for. He throws down 2, waits very patiently. I really think that a photon overcharge right now is super duper important. Obviously to pick off these guys. But there's sort of a difficult choice as like, what do you do when there's like a little bit too much bio moving forward? And this is what makes Bomber such a strong player, is that he does do stuff like this. Throwing down a force field here is an easy way to have your nexus just target fired and killed. And then not having enough energy and losing all your sentries is another really easy way to have all the stuff march up your ramp. Now there's some sort of funky solutions that can be executed here, like putting one of the gateways here. Like if you just do 2 gateways here, then you have an easy retreat choke to be able to pull back. But in this circumstance, SOS is in really bad shape. He's already lost his oracle. He impressively is not really behind that many probes. It's like 37 to 56. And I think that this happens a lot with these super fast double forge builds. But it's pretty straightforward in terms of recovery. All SOS really has to do is get to 44 probes, which is, full saturation on 2 bases. And then just chill and deny a 3rd. Same play that we got the chance to see last game. Very, very straightforward. Our upgrade lead is the biggest lead that we has. So we focus on it. We drill everything into it. Trying to think of the issues that would come up. Oh, that's right. That's why I chose this game. Bomber is going to be getting a Ghost Academy rather fast. And looking around, he has his 3rd command center, but it's not done. So he's going to be somewhat low on bio. He could have built 3 barracks a little earlier, or he could have gone ghosts. And we'll even see how the ghosts are cutting into Bomber's money. I mean, just look at the economy of Bomber. You don't have the gas to really get that many ghosts. I mean, the fact that they're 200, 100 means that's 4 Marauders that you can't build. Bomber is only able to do this because he has 3 reactors on his barracks instead of 2 reactors. So SOS is kind of in an easy defensive, or in a more convenient situation than you might think. SOS is playing much more slowly. So here's the phase of the game that we're seeing be very different from the prior game. This Zealot Archon army is not moving out aggressively. It's staying pretty far clutched back home. The thing that's moving out is probes and pylons. In case of emergency, where SOS has to play defensively, he's just going to build as many pylons on the other side of the map as he can. And rely on his gateway count to do little counter warp-ins. Alright, cool, so he spots the 3rd. Bomber always builds his 3rd in weird locations, like pretty much always. This was one of the weirder moves of the game. But upon a little reflection, it still makes a ton of sense. SOS doesn't want to lose to any sort of cloaked ghost coming up and just shooting down his Templar. SOS, why move out right now? Because, for one, he's feeling a little bit secure. He sees that there's a 3rd base down here. And he just wants to deny the 3rd. It's the same play that we saw last game. Why Templar here? For feedbacks on ghosts and feedback on medevacs, most importantly of all. But look at this army composition out of Bomber. The guy who was in the lead and went for ghosts. I actually think that the reason Bomber lost this game is because he went for fast ghosts. It's such a straightforward play. There's 48 Marines, 5 ghosts, and a broke Terran. Bomber is at 1-1. You can see that. There it is. 1-1. Has the 2-2 en route, and still was only able to get... He has only 2 medevacs. He's even cutting medevacs to be able to get 5 ghosts out right now. There's a lot of stuff that is not here, and Zealots are just the biggest friend of all. Hooray, Zealots. So without Storm, SOS is going to roll through this because he has superior upgrades. Just holds on just a smidge. Proxy Pylon's not quite able to do too much work. Oh, there's the Zealots. No, there's the Zealot. There he is. And with the killing off of that medevac, there's just hardly any medevacs left. Look, it's like all Marines being produced, which is really bad against his Zealot Archon army. And it's the same story that we saw last game. I mean, it's like almost the same play. The only thing that was drastically different was these counterattack pylons. The farther SOS is back to his home base, the more likely he is to want to warp in small numbers of Zealots. And it's not overdoing it. SOS has plenty of money to be able to like warp in like a bunch of like 8 Zealots there, but just a few, 3, maybe as many as like 5 or something like that. Upon seeing the SCVs pulled, it's pretty straightforward. It's going to be the easy win for the SOS. Yay! Yeah. Them tactics. So here, SOS gets an easy win. I'm really just showing you the same thing we saw last game. Notice how, like, not that many storms there are here. In this circumstance, I think there's only, like, 2 storms that get thrown down. No storms are needed right now. None. There's 51 Marines and 6 Archons. I mean, there's not even that many Marines that are here. Yeah, there's a pretty good chunk missing. That 51 is very deceptive. There's plenty of Marines going all the way back. No storms needed here at all. I mean, that's pretty easy just by, like, looking. The storms are, like, a bonus. As a commentator here, it's like, oh my god, is he going to get Storm off at the right time? Oh, it's so close, he needs Storm. But, you know, that's for the story perspective that makes the game more exciting. I would be doing a shitty job as a commentator if I was like, yeah, he's dead. He doesn't even need Storm. It's totally obvious, he doesn't need it. If it's super obvious, like, 6 archons and 22 zealots versus 5 marines. Probably going to steer clear of hyping that. Getting excited about that. But it's close, but SOS would still edge it out without Storm. Yeah. Good. Good. Now, there's one game that I want to sort of fast forward to, which is going to be a much shorter game between Bomber and SOS on this here map. Belchiel Vestige. The focus of this daily is on general Zealot Templar play. Do I want to do this game now? Well, I've opened it. Whatever. Look at another one. The point of this daily is general Zealot with High Templar play. Zealot Archon play in the mid game. How do those work? And we've seen Oracle into Double Forge twice now. What's an alternative way to play out the matchup? Still using that Zealot Archoning as the same theme. Or I should say the Zealot Templaring. So, the connection I want to make from last game to this game is the value of counterattacking when the gateway count is very high. Now, we can't always guarantee pylons going down here along these edges. But we can always guarantee a warp prism. SOS is opening up with the Nexus Mothership Core with 1 geyser. The second one has not been taken yet. Sentries being produced. Sentries being produced. Generally, not as powerful as the Stalker for defense. But SOS is going to do a couple of interesting moves. The first most interesting one is throwing down double gateway right now. Why? It's so easy to apply the rules of colossusing play to the rules of every other play, really. Most of the time, you can get away with 1 gate if you know you're super safe. Like if you have an Oracle scouting and killing stuff off. Like if you have a Colossus. But here, SOS just builds 2 gateways right away. And even is getting a relatively on-time warp gate. Robo Facility. At first had me a little bit like, oh, dang. But don't worry, he's going to whip back into Templar play soon enough. I will note the fact that SOS went 3 sentries is what provided enough money to be able to get these geysers and this robo. I'll note that at 6 minutes, still no expo down. We'll also note that these are the worst force fields in the world, and you don't have to be a world champion to throw force fields down that are that bad. Now here's what I always really love about SOS, is that he's high on the tech and high on the aggression. The Forge Twilight Council combo is coming before 7 minutes. 7 minutes is kind of what I would call like the normal tech time for a lot of tech paths. That's when we see a lot of double forges go down, or when we see like a robo finish, or excuse me, a robo facility finish. Forge Twilight Council coming down fairly swiftly. It's pretty good. There's the Observer coming on out. Great. To be able to go for any sort of big Templaring play, you need the gas. And that's exactly what SOS is going to do. Conserve gas. He's actually not really getting that many observers. And by not really getting that many, I mean he's getting 1 observer. We got to back up just before Bomber makes this attack. So here's a really nice timing. When you start a warp prism, you can start gates. And then the warp prism will get to his base when the gateways finish. So that's why you see a lot of people start a warp prism and start 4 gates. Because when it gets there, the warp gate action will be ready to go. This is one of the sexiest and slyest moves of all. Boom, warp prism going down, 3 gates up. Remember how we talked about 3 gates for defense? Well, this attack is one of those attacks that could potentially mess a lesser Protoss up. Chrono boosts almost always are on the Nexus until we can get 44 probes, at least. There's the Warp Prism coming out. There's the Templar Archives coming up. You might say, but wait a minute. Weren't all those gateways supposed to go down? Extra round of Zealots got warped in for defense. Now that those are up, it's time, baby. 8 gateways. 7 if you want to pretend like you're cute. This is a very straightforward delay for SOS. Normally these gateways would have begun long ago, but SOS had to build these Zealots because of the attack. Once he can afford to actually physically get the gates, he will. And before then, nah. 8 gates, not being cute about it at all. Just bam, slamming it out. We see 2 Templar going straight into an Archon. We see +2 coming straight away. That 1 Observer is chilling outside the front. Now, why the front? It's easy to... actually, I think it's the 2nd Observer that popped up after the Warp Prism. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. First one, just making sure of what's going on. Alright, cool, it's good standard stuff. The 2nd Observer, why would it park right here, of all places? Because this Observer is our trigger to kick in the Warp Prism aggression. A little bit of this is good. Heavy warp-ins we don't want to do until we really are pretty damn certain that he's somewhere in the middle of the map. So that can be time. Generally, this Observer is just going to see it. Nice, neat, nifty, easy peasy little play. Doesn't lift it up, but hey, he gets the chance to see this force and to keep applying pressure. This is one of the easiest plays in the book. And the instant that he pulls back to try to defend himself, you get yourself an expansion. And you can even pump Archons out of this Immortals out of this bad boy. What a sick play. It's very, very stable. And as we said before, one of the last things that is researched is Storm. Multiple Archons come down first. I actually think this is a pretty easy game from SOS. It's also really fun to do this build. Like, really, really, really fun. Because you get to warp into his base and kill off all his stuff. Now, in part 1 and 2, we got the chance to see this Oracle Double Forge play really slick and how it transitions to Zealot Archon. We saw pressure applied in the first game to secure another base. We saw that when we're being pressured in the second game, we can use counterattack pylons. And here, we can almost guarantee the counterattack potential by getting a fast Warp Prism. And in this game, SOS went straight for the Warp Prism, so we saw that build too. We come back in part 3, we're just going to watch a bonus game of SOS. I'll let you decide when we return. Do we want to watch we're going to watch a game against Pult. I'll announce what the choices are when we come back. We'll just do it on 2 or 3 choices, something like that. We'll see more of the sweetness. Yeah, on a break.